we tend to think that wickedness is bad acts. There are things that people do that are bad. And so we look through history, we go, Hitler's evil, Mao's evil, Stalin's evil, people who murder people and kill people, they're evil, people who oppress people, they're evil. So it tends to be like bad acts. And then we grow up, sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never harm me. How you use your words and your mouth doesn't hurt me, it can't harm my soul. But he just came out and went, no, that's exactly true, actually. That the definition sometimes of wickedness is it goes right down to the level of your speech, what you say, how you use your words, right? James talks about this, that the tongue is the rudder of the ship. It can burn down forests. So think about this, husbands. How do you build up your wife rather than tearing her down? Wives, how do you build up your husbands rather than tearing them down? Is your life a life of gossip, criticism, complaining, tear? I sit in the seat of mockers. This is what he's saying. How do you use your words? So he's not just saying, and see, some people read this and they're like, his mouth is filled with cursing. And so they go, oh, I don't swear, ergo I'm off the hook, right? Now, that can't be the case because sometimes you hit a bad tee shot. What? Someone actually told me that they were going to buy me a t-shirt that says, I love Jesus, but I swear a little. But that's only because Tourette's. Don't hold me accountable for that. So here's the reality though. Some of you are, all right, now, if you interpret this text that way, I'm gonna challenge you a bit because it's not that simplistic. And here's what I mean by that. I think there's a level if you just count up the amount of F words you say, and you think, ergo, I don't fit into this text, you've completely deceived yourself. And here's why. Because the text really isn't about just that, though it's true. Philippians talks about, think on these things, whatever's pure, whatever's holy, whatever's blameless. Think on these things, and you should. But the reality is, there is another level to this, and it's not swearing. It's more of the Orwellian version of this. How we use words as a culture is a reflection of kind of the empire that we exist within, right? The Hebrews lived in Egypt, and Egypt had a whole definition of reality. Then they lived in Babylon, and they had a whole definition of reality. The way they would use words, the way that they would publish ideas, what you worshiped. And then, of course, early Christians lived in the Roman Empire. And they said, we use words like this. Caesar is Lord. Caesar is Savior. This is what you need to do. And so words were a very interesting reality, and how you use them, and what realities they actually reflect in your own soul. So here's the interesting question. We begin to think about being people in the world, but not of the world. How do we be kingdom people and not of the world people? It's right down to the way we talk and the way we use words and being people who exist in cultures. Let me give you an example. What is more dangerous? I'm not gonna actually ask you to answer the question because you may get it wrong and that would be embarrassing. What is more dangerous for your 15-year-old son to see the F words in Saving Private Ryan, or to be inundated with the worldview of watching Friends every week? What is more? Friends has no swear words. What is the more insidious thing that your kid could get exposed to week in and week out? A movie with swear words or a worldview like Friends that works its way into their brain and constructs a reality about sleeping around, sexuality, money, fame, reputation, relationships? See, it's not as simple as going, well, I don't say swear words, ergo I'm off the hook. No, it's all about how you talk, what you believe, what your reality is, and the fact that you live in an empire that's constantly giving you definitions of reality, of sexuality, of success, of money, of power, of family, that you've constantly got to be going, okay, what does this mean?